You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Arrested Development After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Arrested Development After Show.
Hello everyone, Bing is for doing, and we are doing Arrested Development on AFTERBUZZ, and we're doing episode 5 right now, which is Tobias's Arrested Development. It's called A New Start.
Anus tart.
You say it your way, I'm gonna say it my way right now.
Tomato, tomato.
Tomato, tomato? Sounds good. So anyway, joining me today, I'm Nando Velasquez, and joining me, first of all, let's start all the way at the very far end.
I'm Cathy Kelley.
Yes, followed by?
I'm Roxy Striar.
And then just look past me to the other beautiful lady here.
Hi everyone, I'm Alina Akram.
Awesome. Okay, great. So we finally get to see Tobias. This is awesome. One of my favorite characters on Arrested Development, and we finally get a chance to see what's going on with him. We've seen little tips and little clues here and there. We've made certain predictions. But what do you guys think of getting an episode featured solely with one of our favorite ambiguously gay characters?
It didn't let me down, and honestly, my expectations were really high, so it hit them all.
Yeah.
I thought it was one of the funniest episodes so far.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Tobias is unintentionally hilarious, and I die.
No, I totally agree. I mean, I love David Cross. Everything he does is fabulous, and he just plays the hell out of this character.
And just seeing the other side of the story, because we saw Lindsay's side of the story,
Yes.
going to India and reading Eat, Pray, Love,
Yeah.
and it's just so funny how everything crosses over.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy, though, that they both got out of Eat, Pray, Love, they both ended up in India? I think it's crazy. It shows that they're a little more similar than we think, maybe.
Well, isn't it crazy that they read the same book, but they still didn't get to love?
It's
Neither
coincidence. He happened upon a book because Lindsay had left it right there, and then he goes to the travel website, and India's already pressed in, so he thinks it's a sign. Like India's already whatever India, I can't pronounce it.
Was it?
Yeah, it was already up there, and then so he's going to make his own reservation, and it already has Funke, like it's. It's already
absolutely.
programmed in because Lindsay had already done it.
Yeah.
So he just thinks it's a sign, even though it's a sign that your wife already booked her own flight.
Well, don't forget, he mentions it later on in the episode, not to jump ahead, but it's something that we hear a couple of times, I think, that we're going to hear a couple of times this season, because the trailer had it. This is the sign I've been waiting for, which Michael says in the first episode, and we hear it again. I don't think we've heard it since Michael said it in the first episode with the vulture. That scene with the vulture and the whole thing, so but it seems to be it's kind of like their version this season of "Come on" or some of the other witticisms they always say, which is really great. But let me just backtrack. What starts Tobias on this journey is finally after several seasons of him just saying the weirdest things, the wrong stuff. Yes. Finally, someone says, "We think you're gay." And we finally get an answer as to whether or not he is not. Yeah.
Lindsay tells him and gives him the cold shoulder.
Yeah, so funny.
I could not believe, a lot of things go over Tobias's head, but the fact that he didn't know, and we knew he didn't know, but when he said, "Everyone thinks I'm gay," and he legitimately seemed baffled. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. How could that have gone over your head? And Lindsay looks at him and she's like, you had to have known that, Tobias. And he then makes some comment back that is like, oh no, they do the flashback to the little dance move he did a minute ago.
From like 10 seconds earlier.
It's just hysterical.
Michael tried to tell him in season 1 or 2, and he was like, just record yourself, record some of the things that you say. And he's like, well, I don't understand. Like that's
perfectly
completely
fine.
straightforward.
Yeah, that's completely straightforward. I totally understand that. Yeah, that was
But it was
good.
like, I
That
just
one's
blew
good.
myself, and like all those things.
I just love the scene with him and Job. You look how I feel, and he's like, gay.
Gay.
And then the scene later where he's like, I think you're implying something. And they're like, nothing is being implied. Like,
We're telling you.
it's all very straightforward.
Well, and of course, it's just great that he's oblivious to the whole thing, and yet he still gets to get a new license plate for a new start, and it's Anus Tart, and he still gets all these other lines, which we'll come up with some other ones when we get a little bit later. I'll save you. I know your favorite line. I won't reveal it.
Oh my gosh.
Your favorite line of the episode.
And we
So
see
good.
in the last week's episode, or sorry, 2 weeks ago, where Lindsay's like, we see her yell at the cab in front of her saying, "Move, Anus Tart," and you kind of just think it's a random insult.
Yeah.
You're like, why would she call some? I've never heard anybody be called an Anus Tart before. But then we figure out that it's a license plate. and
Again,
all comes full circle.
It's just brilliant seeing. This is the first episode where we finally get to see so much of what we finally get to see the callbacks.
Yeah. Right.
A lot of them.
And I love that they're not, even though I loved it when they did use it, but not using anal rapist anymore.
Yeah, finding something new.
Yes.
That's what's great. Finding a new, although you're still kind of in the same region.
Yes.
but for something completely different.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Parvesh Chena, who was the taxi driver with Lindsay in that, and he's from Outsource. He's a friend of mine. Just want to say a shout out to him in case he's.
You're friends with everyone.
I
friends
know a
in
lot
high
of these
places.
guys.
Stop name dropping.
I know.
You want me to pick up that name you just dropped?
My friend David Cross and I don't know. Well, I've
Well,
met
my
him.
friend Jason Bateman's in it. No,
There you go.
kidding.
There you go. Awesome. So anyway,
Small part.
Yeah.
so we're going to India, and of course they booked the same exact flight, and we finally, I guess it's something you kind of, and you called it out.
Yeah.
And we
Because you
finally,
could see it in the top left of the screen. I'm telling you.
Good
Yeah, we
eyes.
said that in a previous after show.
yeah.
That was him.
Okay. So good call on that, and we
Thank
see.
you.
And well, even more so, we see he's the one that's been hitting the back of her
chair.
the back of her chair. So trying to work those things. You know what? I always, whenever I'm on a plane, I always get worried that I'm doing it too hard, and I know that's what she said.
You're like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, I'm like a 5-year-old, and I'm knocking the other person's head a little bit. I'm always
Yeah.
afraid that I'm doing that, but
I didn't see the jorts underneath his.
They were
No,
there.
They were there.
They were there.
They were there when the wind blew in India.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
When he's outside.
but
Right
when he
before
was
he
like
gets hit.
redoing his
Oh,
thing
yeah.
on the plane, I didn't see him.
I think it was waist up, so you
Okay.
couldn't see.
It was
but they were there.
pretty high up. Yeah. So but it was great to see the Never Nude reference in there as well. Great to see
Canadian.
Canadian.
I'm sorry.
I love the whole montage of him trying to put the sarong back on.
Yes.
And some of them were a little too ridiculous, but I
Yeah.
still liked the effort that was used there. And of course, Lindsay, we get to see Lindsay doing all this amazing stuff in India, but Tobias walks out pretty much out of the airport. It's too hot, gets blown by the wind, and
He's
then
the cow that they hit.
He
on
gets
the
hit by
bus.
Lindsay's truck
He's the-
or Lindsay's bus.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Again, you have to catch every little thing from that previous episode.
And that was the point where they had accidentally switched suitcases.
yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So
absolutely.
and both of them are completely oblivious. They're tchotchkes or chachis or whatever. They're completely oblivious
Yeah.
that the other one is there. And Lindsay should have known because when she opened up her suitcase in a previous episode, she sees her shirt, which is the pirate shirt that
Yeah.
she had from.
I love that whole suitcase scene too, where he's like, you have my suitcase, and it's the same exact suitcase, and then he's like, people think I'm gay because I'm so romantic, or
Yeah.
something like that.
And it's like, no, honey, that's not why people think you're gay. It's because of all the references you make things going up your butt. Sorry to be vulgar.
I have a stick in my bum.
Yeah.
Well, I also want to bring up while they're in India, he gets hospitalized, which I called because all those references on hospital bills. I just didn't know it was in India. But the return of another character, which is one of my favorite characters, although I don't think he has a name, but
The
it's
doctor.
the doctor, Ian Roberts, who's the doctor that always says something that means completely something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you pause, we paused on the hospital, and it was actually like there was a English phrase on it, and it was
City of Hopelessness Hospital.
Yes. So
Perfect.
awesome. It was like
For
one of the
Tobias.
few. It was like one of the few things written in English in that little montage
Yes.
or that little shot of India.
There's a lot of hospital time this episode between Tobias,
Debris.
and
Lucille, too.
Lucille too.
Yeah, they're definitely. Well, Tobias seems to know everybody in the hospital by the end of that episode.
Everybody
Oh,
has
he's got a new girlfriend.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
you gotta love that. So Tobias's trip is, and of course, just like Lindsay finds her purpose in life, I guess, to go back and find love again. Tobias finds his purpose
Yes.
when he falls and breaks his skull in a third place over the elephant statue,
Yes.
whatever. And one of the interns at the hospital says you would be a great comedy actor. So Tobias is on his new start, and he goes back to the States to pursue his career, his lifelong dream. I wrote it down. I loved his to achieve the unachievable dream of being an actor.
Right.
So he goes back to achieve the unachievable dream of being an actor. So what do you guys think of Tobias's new? It is a new start, but it's the same start he's been before. He's just redeveloping himself as an actor. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's great. He should pursue his dream. It's entertaining and hilarious for us in the meantime.
I think that people find signs where they're looking for them. You know, like if somebody says you want to be a comedy actor, it could go right over. You could not even absorb that. But if you're looking for somebody to say that, you find it. So I think every time he has a new start, it's really he wants to do something and he just like makes up a sign to help him do it. There's never really an actual sign.
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. Like in the funeral, he keeps saying they keep referring, like most people would figure this out by now. But of course, he's like, oh, yes, I will redouble my efforts so that he died in vain.
No, I don't mean that he died in vain. I mean that his life will have been pointless.
Exactly.
That was hilarious.
So just awesome, Tobias, obliviousness. And speaking of oblivious, we also see the return, we've seen him already this season, but of Ed Helms as the realtor.
Yes.
And
I love this.
and we see...
That is his agent.
That's his agent.
Not his real estate agent.
Here's my other agent from Allstate.
Yeah.
Fire him.
I wish it was that easy. That's how it worked.
What was the line that Ed Helms said? Or Tobias was like, "I'm not good with money," and then Ed Helms was like, in a previous episode, wasn't it?
What was
like why he had him as his agent, because he's not good at he's not good with numbers.
Yeah.
So Ed Helms is gonna do the numbers for him and make him because like he can't tell people that he's an actor believably.
Yeah.
So he needs
once
Ed
he said
Helms
that,
yeah,
he's like, oh, I can do that. That's easy. It's no problem at all.
Yeah.
I just love the fact that Ed Helms is pretty much like, I give insurmountable loans to poor people that can never pay off their debt. And he's like, oh, and he's just like, again, oblivious of Tobias. He's just looking at him, not realizing that he just did that to him. He's just pretty much saying how he just, totally conned him. And he's like, can you be my agent? Yeah, just be my agent. So
speaking of seeing signs where you can, like when you're looking for them, Tobias creates a sign as his bed that says, it's like the Hollywood sign, but it's Tobias.
Oh, God,
and so
hooray
that's
for
a sign
Tobias.
that he should be in Hollywood.
Another
Exactly.
sign. I'm going to do a segue. We're going to do another sign, a sign of Serial Buddies. How about that?
Serial Buddies.
What a segue.
Good one.
Segue.
Good job.
That was an awful segue.
It was an awful segue.
So, Serial Buddies, The Adventures of Serial Buddies, is a movie produced by our creators of AFTERBUZZ, Maria Menounos and Kevin Undergaro. It's absolutely hilarious. And it's a comedy that stars a ton of people, from Cathy Kelley to Arrested Development's Henry Winkler.
Yes,
He
that's
is
the
the
narrator.
Maria Menounos is in it. Beth
Beth
Bayers
Bayers
from Two Broke Girls. Artie Lang. There are a ton of great cameos
And some of our very own AfterBuzzers.
yes, some of our very own AfterBuzzers. It's kind of like Dexter meets Dumb and Dumber. It's a hilarious road trip between two serial killers who become friends. And
You gotta download it.
I can't say good enough stuff about it.
No, awesome. And it's on iTunes. And while you're on iTunes, if you're on iTunes listening to us too, why don't you rate and subscribe? If you've subscribed, rate to us and rate and write to us. Rate to us and write to us. How
I
about
want
that?
to shout out BC Retton, who left us an amazing comment a couple weeks ago. So
Love
Okay.
that.
yeah,
Cool. We love the
Very
comments.
nice.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
love you.
Yes. So anyway, so let's move on. We were talking about Tobias's role as an actor, and we start seeing part of his efforts to be an actor is rolling into a method clinic.
Method 1 clinic.
Which we all knew like 4 episodes ago was really a methadone clinic, but of course we get to see his side of this whole story.
And Debris, her monologue could have been better if she just
Punched
hadn't
up.
been slurring.
Yeah, exactly. A wonderful job. I mean, we didn't say this in episode 2, or was it episode 3? It was Lindsay's episode. But wonderful job by Maria Bamford, who plays Debris. We didn't get to really talk about her, but
Such a wonderful job,
Yeah.
especially when we get to the hospital part of the whole thing. I thought it was just hysterical. My 2 favorite parts are oh my God, that's a butterface. And there's a double meaning there. And 61-year-old male in cardiac arrest. That's how they described her when she's going through the doors. It was just awesome.
It was hilarious.
Just being able to keep up that role and be so crazy. But it's not too much where it's not believable. You know, she's somewhat grounded. Clearly she's had her own method acting classes, so
Yes.
she really did a great job.
Yeah.
I love that after all of this, she actually was an actress
Yeah.
in
Fantastic
the
Four.
Fantastic Four
Yes.
and then several porns. She's
And
done
straight
6
Straight
and then 3 after lunch. 3 more after lunch.
There were 2 guys having sex in the scene, and I couldn't take my eyes off you.
So
That's a compliment.
Tobias, you've seen porn with gay guys, like, and you don't understand why people think you're gay.
I know. Again, just awesome. Just amazing how he could still, even after they just straight up tell him that he could play this character so well. So
I love the scene where he's so freaking oblivious and they're taking the methadone shot and he's like, let's cheers to may our acting addiction never be cured.
I will drink to that, guys. Let's cheers to that.
I love how he called it acting juice before too. Acting juice, totally good. So we get to see what's awesome about this too is we get to see the other side of Swappigans when Tobias and Debris leave Lindsay and Barky Bark alone, and we see them running off, and we don't realize what's happened to that Marky Bark, but we don't realize. I'm just gonna keep messing it up, but we get to see the other side of it now, which is Debris and Tobias and them running off. Surprise, surprise. And of course, in typical Tobias Lindsay fashion, they're both not even aware that the other one has done the exact same thing. So
And both leaving each other voice messages.
on the same thing, yeah, I totally. And I remember like Lindsay was like, please erase this message so there's room for maybe or something. So yeah, they're just filling up their voicemail, which is awesome. But we get to see a little bit of Debris. We hear about her Fantastic Four, which was done in 6 days because a lawyer told Ron Howard that they were going to lose the rights in 6 days. So they hire the catering crew, hey, it pays to be a catering crew at a big party.
Again, I wish it was that easy. Just one of my other favorite moments, and I don't know why I thought this was so funny, but actually as we were watching together, we all were cracking up. The "you're neat" line when they just are looking, you're neat. Like she's got her head back and he's got his fingers in her nose. You're neat. You're neat. Like,
I wonder what other drug she's doing, because isn't like
crystal
bleeding nose
like cocaine.
yeah.
I don't think you put methadone in your. I don't know.
No, you don't. But considering she has every single party disease known to man, I think she's probably done a lot of
all the itises and some of the oses.
Yes, exactly. Considering she's done all of that, I assume that she.
Does Tobias now have those as well?
Well, we don't know if he's ever slept with her. Okay. He's a never nude, so he'd have to take off his clothes, I'm supposed to.
He definitely has not.
I mean, he's had to have taken off his clothes at some point because he had a daughter.
They have a super adorable.
Unless maybe it's not his.
Yeah.
Well, technically, he doesn't have to take his clothes off. So.
And isn't maybe.
I love how we're just getting into the finer points of getting around the shorts. Yes, totally, absolutely. So.
And that's how maybe was conceived.
See, when a man and woman fall in love, or in this case. Just whatever. So Fantastic Four. So we end up. Tobias ends up taking Debris on this journey to try and get her back as an established actress by having her go out and be Sue Storm out on the streets of Hollywood. Which there's so many different awesome little things about this whole section.
Can I just say, in real life, the people on the streets of Hollywood are such jerks. Like, they steal your money. They literally steal your money. Like, my friend Josh Snotty and I, who loves Arrested Development, he and I went out there one day, and like, they harass you to like take their picture with you, and then they charge you a buttload. Like, they're like $10 and or like whatever money you have.
Yeah. So
he was like gonna give him like $5 or something. He breaks out a 20. They literally take the 20 and walk away.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, I know
That's
those guys.
Hollywood.
But he asked for change, mind you. He asked for change, and they took the 20 and walked away.
Hustlers.
They're awful people.
Well, I'm sorry, they're knockoffs anyway. I don't ever want to pose for a photo with those kinds of people, but that's just me, and it's not nothing against those people.
There
I know
are a
trying to make
couple
a
that
buck.
are worth it. Like I think they're cute, and for when you have a kid or something, like they're gonna like that picture. But
I find most of them creepy.
oh yeah.
Absolutely, and it's not Disneyland. You know, you're not taking out your little autograph book.
I love seeing Spider-Man smoke on the corner. That's the best one.
Moving on to more about Debris, though, what do you guys think about the fact that she has a law degree?
And she's the smartest lawyer on the show, it seems
It's
like.
mentioned multiple times. That's
Yes.
gotta come into play.
Well, it's like Tobias having he's a doctor. You know, they're both professionals.
So they are a lawyer and a doctor. That is what
That
Tobias
are
and Debris are.
Yeah, that's
that
awesome.
are pursuing acting.
That's awesome. That's really
And
awesome.
one's a prostitute.
and when she's not a prostitute, exactly.
Yes.
When she's not selling
porn
herself
star.
for money.
That's not legal.
And softcore porn. Was it softcore porn star?
Softcore, yes.
Softcore porn star.
Oh, that's totally different then. Completely different.
Totally different. Well, what I love about this, first of all, I love the return of Tobias as a blue man, even though it's just for a very, very short time. When he dresses up as the ambiguously, I'm not ambiguous. I am Johnny Storm, the human flamer. There's nothing ambiguous about me. So I love that.
Record yourself.
And I love again, I love when they do this it kind of felt like Take Your Daughter to Work Day again, you know, with having the little kid in the sting operation when they convinced them to say they were the Thing and Sue Storm.
Yes. And might I add that one of the little kids in one of the sting operations was actually Jason Bateman's son in the movie The Switch with Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
So I love that they brought him back.
And there was another great thing that you noticed about when they were trying to get Tobias arrested when he's sleeping with
the
homeless
men?
people. Yeah.
Both of the homeless men are not actual homeless men. One of them was serving Tobias.
I love
and
that.
the other one was a CIA agent who said he was scoping out Imagine Entertainment, which is
So
where
that's definitely
Michael
coming
works.
back.
Another
So
thing to look out for.
That'll probably come back as well. I agree once you said that. What I thought was funny too, and I'm backtracking to the first time he got arrested, was the Feinberg,
Yeah.
which had the 4, which is aliased out. That I guess they're just aliasing out a lot of companies or something. Even the costume that Sue Storm had, it was printed, but it was printed as an alias, which was really
I think
funny.
it was printed as an alias because they stretched out the like they probably found a really small image and they stretched it
that's
out because they're
possible, too.
they're not
But
smart.
but what I did love was the Sue Storm armband that they gave out was really SS to the Jewish lawyers. He's giving out a Nazi armband pretty much.
I was just wondering if the CIA scoping out Imagine Entertainment has something to do with like Ron Howard doing insider trading because he knows all the
when the
secrets
stock market.
of
wow.
when the stock market is going. Or,
Well, it's the
when the
CIA.
housing market.
I don't think the CIA
I know it
handles
isn't,
that.
but like, what else could he be doing? Like, maybe he is illegally using.
It could go back to the LEM. It could go back to, remember when he thinks
yes.
everything's safe in the LEM? It could
Yeah.
be. It could go back to that too. Like you mentioned in the last episode that maybe it's not as soundproof as we had led to believe.
Now we're getting into predictions.
I know, now we are. So we should escape that one for the moment. So anything else we want to bring up about this whole thing? I mean, it's all awesome. Oh, I do want to mention. Oh, there's 2 things I want to mention too. 2 callbacks. That the ostrich came back again,
Yes.
obviously, because we're seeing an ostrich, and it's
Sounds
very
like
obvious.
2 ostriches making love.
To a pop hit. Yeah, which is Lucille 2 singing some crazy song, Liza Minnelli singing some crazy song, and being attacked by an ostrich.
Which
so we
is
get to
funny
see that.
because she's actually a singer, wasn't she?
Yeah, exactly. She's
Yeah.
a singer, totally. And of course we see the apartment all ransacked before, the Lucille's apartment ransacked before, which was also in the first episode, and the ostrich made it to Lucille 2's room.
Yes.
And then the other callback I want to mention,
And the ostriches are from.
probably from Barky Mark.
Barky
the
Mark.
ostrich farm.
Yeah,
from the ostrich farm.
ostrich farm.
That's what we're assuming, at least. And then the other callback, and this is such a subtle one, but again, now I'm paying attention, so I feel like there's another Dr. Seuss reference, technically, which is I didn't notice it till the scene where Debris wants to have sex for money, and the guy that she's with is like, "I am not a thing," and Tobias says, well, I am a thing, which is a great line.
Thing 1 and thing 2.
Yeah.
Exactly, thing 1 and thing 2. So again, another little subtle Dr. Seuss reference. So I have to go back to episode 2 and have to see if I could find that Dr. Seuss reference, because I feel like that one's the one that's missing so far.
Speaking of, I wanted to talk about Lucille too for a little bit, but when Tobias takes her to the hospital and all the people know him and they're like, oh, this, I guess, Tobias got a new girlfriend.
Yeah.
Lucille offered him a job working for her brother Argyle at, was it a hospital or a...
At Audacity, it was called.
Okay.
It was a rehab
Austerity.
center. Austerity. Austerity.
Austerity,
Yes.
a rehab center, which was maybe debris had been there, or it just seemed like everything is full circle. Could have gotten $120,000. And he turns it down. Debris says, Marky Bark couldn't see me, and you can't hear me.
I love that. It was a very deep line.
Yes.
That was very deep. Also, what's interesting about that whole thing is Lucille, too, mentions her brother. So I'm wondering,
Mm-hmm.
whenever they mention a character, you always know they're going to come
Of course.
sooner
We'll
or
see
later.
them.
So I can only assume that we will see Austerity and probably
Argyle.
see, see Argyle too. So it'd be very, very interesting to see who that is and if there's a celebrity playing him.
Yeah.
So so I think that
We didn't talk about To Catch a Local Predator.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God!
The
How
biggest
best part.
I was teasing this too because your favorite lines on
Yes.
that. Yes.
So Tobias finally gets his acting debut, which is funny because I thought he was in the episode of
Scandal Makers.
Scandal Makers.
Yeah.
But he is on television in To Catch a Local Predator and spin on To Catch a Predator.
Yes, absolutely.
Which I love. And
John
so
Beard, who's awesome.
he is going to Maybe's house and keeps on saying these things that sound awful, but he doesn't know what he's saying. So he calls her and he's like, Big Daddy's coming. And then he finally gets to the house and he's like, is there a little girl waiting here all alone? And my favorite line of the episode, as he is dressed as the Thing, he goes, I gotta get my rocks off.
And he also says, I want to show her Daddy's thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Amazing.
So
Every line
they're
was
giving him
hilarious.
every single thing that he's saying is just proving their point.
Oh, yeah.
That he is a child predator.
Oh, absolutely.
How old is she? And it's because they always forget Maybe's birthday.
Right.
Him
Oh,
and
that's right.
yeah,
They
his
always-
wife. So he
Hopefully
doesn't know. 19 or but she's still 15 in my eyes.
I imagine her as 15.
I like to think of her as younger, yeah. The creepiest thing you could possibly
Oh
say.
my God, it
And then
was so
tell him
good.
there's a raccoon in the backyard. So he
yeah.
why did he go outside for a
I
raccoon?
love how they can't arrest him until he leaves the house, and he's just nonplussed by anything John Beard says.
Yeah. Another thing, which I think we'll see later in the season, is all of the streets in that development, because it's
Yes.
the development that Michael Bluth made, are names of characters. So it's George Michael Street.
Yeah, and Tracy Lane.
And that was a very, very short reference, because I think one of the producers of the show said he's turning
He's
to
creeping up on...
Well, he
George
says creeping
Michael.
up on George Michael.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
So another thing I think we'll see, maybe this is a prediction, but that when Maybe lived in the development, because we haven't really seen that yet.
Yeah. No, I kind of agree with that. Well, we've covered the sting operation, which is awesome. I guess we can move on to predictions, I would say. Now would be a good time.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, so what do we have?
I just
Tobias
gave
and Nando.
mine.
You gave yours. So yours
Yes.
is that we're going to get to see some scenes as to why Maybe
Yeah.
would possibly have been there, or
Yes.
why this mix-up would have started to get Tobias in there. Okay. Awesome.
kind of drawing a blank here. It's always hard to predict, but I don't know, something about maybe living there, and maybe George Michael living there with her. Some kind of roommate situation.
Roommates are more than roommates.
Wink, wink.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
Maybe. What would you have?
My
Nino?
prediction is, or at least I hope to see Tobias in jail, because I think it would be very interesting
He'll
to see
get
him
his
interact with
Yeah.
the inmate.
therapist.
Actually, I was going to say the same thing because
The anus tart
Anus
in
tart.
jail.
I would like to see his story continue in jail and see
Yeah.
what as frightened prisoner.
I think that he needs to get a tramp stamp that says anus tart over his butt. Oh my God, that's what needs to happen. and then he goes to jail.
Yes.
Oh boy. Yeah. So I feel the same way about him going to jail, and oh man, that's what I was gonna go.
And then we'll
for.
see the warden again. As
Oh, I like that idea
and
too.
maybe some of George Senior's friends.
No
touching.
No touching at all. Well, I also think that this is not the end of Maria. I haven't looked on IMDb. I don't know how many episodes she's in, but I want to say it's not the end of Debris. So, especially since she's got that law degree. So I feel like she'll come to the rescue at some point. So anyway, well, till the next time, you can. Where can we find you, Alina?
On Twitter @_Alina23.
Yep, and Roxy.
On Twitter @Roxy Striar.
You can find me on Twitter @Catherine Kelley.
And you can find me on Twitter @Nando Vel. And until the next time, next week we'll be reviewing the following 2 episodes. And yeah, we'll have a lot more fun with them. So tune in until next time.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz ya later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.